A very good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and I welcome you, giving you a very warm welcome to Getty Live Talk. My name is Shilpi. I'm a relationship manager with the Global Education and Training Institute. I believe everybody is safe and sound in their homes and with their loved ones. So, getting back to the talk, I have Miss Tasneem Dhoondia, who has been my colleague, and I love meeting her after a full 10 years gap. She's right now working as an integrative counselor. She has 20 plus years of experience with industries like Times Group Pro, Zealand, and of course, Aptech, where I have worked with her. Tasneem, welcome to our show and thank you for joining in the disruptive education movement. She has an MBA and she has also been managing projects with these esteemed and reputed institutions. So, Tasneem, what are you going to talk about is emotionally healthy child. And I think this is the need of the hour when the children are sitting at home, and it's been like almost 1.5 year we've completed, and they have not been able to live a very normal life, not going to school, not meeting their friends. So I think more than their studies and everything else, what we have to learn to manage is their emotions, their flow of energy, how to control that, or how to navigate it in a positive channel. So thank you for joining in, and let's begin by first of all, Tasneem, I would like to ask you, when we talk about emotions, what is emotions? First of all, is it that a superfluous flow of uncontrollable feelings, or is it that a particular emotion is always there and it's comes to the surface at certain points of time? So first, define emotions for us.
Great. Thank you, Shilpi, for such a warm welcome, and I am so glad that I am participating with your esteemed organization in this disruptive education movement. I'm so happy to be a part of it. So yes, to answer your question, emotions are very important. And what are emotions? So emotions are the window to understand a person's belief system. So basically, there are three layers of a personality, and emotions is a middle layer. Below the emotions is your belief system. What you think, how do you perceive the world, how do you perceive yourself, how do you perceive others. So based on your belief, your emotions are formed, and based on your emotions, your behavior is formed. So for example, a child believes that darkness is bad.
Yeah.
He or she picked up this belief while growing up. It is not something that he or she was born with, right? So something happened. Maybe it was the external environment, maybe it was just his or her assumption about darkness. It's not always that others tell you what you believe. So child picked up this belief that darkness is bad. So now, based on this belief, the emotion he or she feels is fear.
Yeah.
And based on that fear, he or she behaves in a way that he wants to run away from darkness. He or she doesn't want to go towards the darkness. So emotions are very important. They are the middle layer, and they are a very good way to identify a person's belief system. And why I'm saying why it is important to identify the belief system is, as I said earlier, belief system is made, it's like created when a child grows. A
Yeah.
child is during the growing years, they pick up beliefs from the environment or just by themselves. So it is a choice, even though at that point of time the child has limited ability to choose, but still it is a choice. It is not something that you're born with. So to know this is a very good enlightenment, because when you grow up and you look back and you say, okay, in my personality, I have this behavior. I fear darkness, and I always am like, I always want to run away from darkness, and I cannot stay alone. I cannot, I cannot go to places where it is very dark and there's not much light. So I have this particular behavioral pattern. But is it something that I can never change? Is it something that is cast in stone? So no, it is not, because when you were a child with your limited ability, you made a choice of picking up this belief. We're not saying we're not blaming the child, but we're saying it still remains a choice. So today, if you want to change that behavioral pattern, can you do? Yes, you can. So it's a very good, it gives you empowerment that yes, I can change my belief, and I can change my emotions, and I can change my behavior, what I don't like about me.
Uh,
So that is how. Yes.
Emotions. Yeah. So that's a very good example. And now, like, so when we come talk about children,
Right.
so how do emotions, help in making a child grow healthy? I mean, emotionally healthy child. How is it
Right.
ingredient in that?
Yeah, yeah. Very, very good question, Shilpi. So basically, emotionally healthy child or an emotionally healthy adult is someone who manages emotions in a balanced way. So emotions are not bad. Positive and negative emotions both are helpful.
Yeah.
Okay, when something happens which I don't like, I am disappointed, which is very natural. So I don't want to say that no, I should not be getting disappointed. But uh, managing emotions in a balanced way is very important. Because what happens is we don't talk much about managing emotions and all. We don't discuss this with the child. So what happens? The child picks up um, beliefs that associate emotion in a very black and white manner. So suppose a child is told in their childhood that you should not cry, and if you cry, then he or she receives a scolding. So there he or she suppresses the emotion. So that's a zero emotion. He picks up a belief that I must not cry. And
Yeah.
there's a zero thing. And then in a other situation, say for example, a child who was supposed to recite a poem in front of say other 10, 20 children and teachers and all, and he forgot a few lines. And when he forgot a few lines, though out of 20 lines he spoke almost 17 lines correctly, but he
Yeah.
forgot 3 lines. And at that time, other children laughed at him. So a child is not having that limited ability. He has limited ability at that point of time. So he tries to make sense of that situation, and what he thinks is, okay, I made a mistake, and so people are laughing at me, so I am worthless. So I must never. I'm not capable. I'm less than others. Okay, they're better than me, and I'm inferior. So I must not say things in public, and I must not perform in public and all. So in that case, this child feels extreme fear, black and white. So extreme fear, which kind of makes him feel that my worth, I don't have any self worth. So I must not. I don't have the capability to speak in public. So I must never speak. So the child recognizes only black and white terms of emotion, whereas emotions can be of different intensities. So, emotionally, coming back to the point of an emotionally healthy child is someone who doesn't look at life in black and white. So, any experience he has in his life, he or she tries to understand, okay, um, what is this? Say, for example, so when this child grows up and he or she is in, say, an MBA course, and he or she is supposed to make presentation in class. Now, if that person has developed black and white notions, then he or she will not be able to present even now. He will fear that extreme fear, and something is like blocking him, and his problem solving skills are blocked, and he's not in the present, and he fumbles and he forgets things. All those things happen. But an emotionally healthy child will say, okay, I'm feeling a little fear that okay, things may not turn out very well. I may make a couple of mistakes. But he says, okay, if there was a scale of 1 to 10, and all the experiences that happened in my life, if they were rated based on their intensity, 10 being the highest, an event of 10 intensity is something which is life threatening. Okay. Compared to that, this event where I am supposed to perform, and there may be I may make some mistake. So in for this event falls where? So then you say, okay, it falls at number 2. So should I fear as if sky is falling and kind of block my problem solving skills and all. And I'll say, okay, no, I am fearful, I am anxious. I don't want to make mistakes. I desire that I make a wonderful 100% error free presentation. But even if I make a couple of them, it is okay. I'm a fallible human being and I have my flaws and mistakes. I will still, even if I make two mistakes or even if I make five mistakes, I will still would have made 80% of the presentation very well. So this is the attitude. This is an emotionally healthy child who kind of feels appropriate emotions according to the situation or the experience that comes in front of them.
All right, so little bit, I want to focus on the toddlers also, because what is basically the problem that we are facing in this present scenario,
Right.
especially in our schools, is that senior children, who are in junior or grade 11 or 12, it's somewhat okay handling them. You can make them sit in front of the screen for some time, you can make them study even without nobody looking upon them, because somewhere they feel our career or something is at stake if we don't study.
Correct.
But the biggest challenge that mostly teachers, even here somebody has a question for you, that these toddlers, pre-primary ones, they have become so irritable, and it's so difficult. Initially they were enjoying that, sitting in front of the screen, their teachers doing activities, so it was something very novel for them and they were enjoying it. But now it's like something they don't find exciting anymore, and it is so difficult for the teachers as well as the parents to control these toddlers. They are now almost all over the house. This is what people tell me, that they're all over the house. They don't want to. They 2 seconds they sit in front of the screen, then they move away, then they go to the kitchen, they come back, and if the house is not big enough, then it's a problem. So, how do you think should be handling such kind of emotions by
Right.
parents and by teachers? What is the role that the parents can play, and how to channelize it?
Sure, sure. So yes, very, very good question. So basically, one way to involve toddlers or involve younger children into this online teaching thing is make them move. Okay, so yes, they're sitting in front of the screen and looking at you, and you are doing a lot of activities. That is very interesting, and that helps a lot. But another way is involve them kinesthetically. Okay. So if you kind of make them change their positions, like whether they're sitting, standing, or maybe they're made to uh, take up some kind of a stance and some kind of a position, some kind of an create an area for them. Draw, say, a circle or draw a square or draw a triangle, and then make them sit on those in particular spot only for a few seconds and say, okay, for 2 minutes you have to sit here, and if you sit here, then there is some reward that you get. Then go to the square. Where is the square? So you have to identify and go to the square. So something like this, if you involve them kinesthetically, you will not realize that 1 hour, 45 minutes of session, where did it get over? So this is one of the things, but yes, this is an elaborate topic again. It can be a very good discussion where we discuss different ways of
Okay.
involving young children into online teaching.
Yeah.
Hope this
And
helps.
coming to the second part of the question, like this
Right.
is how we can handle the online thing. But what about the emotions getting, because they are full of like kinesthetic energy a lot. They need to move a lot, but we cannot send them out in these conditions
Yes.
all the time. So a child, like if I watch that, he is crying every bit now. He's not even sitting for food for a very long time. So in those cases, is it like, as parents, we cannot scold the child all the time. So how is it that a parent can then handle it, in order to teach him not to cry all the time? This is my important question. Not just in these situations, but those irritating habits in the children that they develop. And I think they are good psychologists. They know that if I do this, my parents will give in. They,
Okay.
yeah.
Correct, correct. So yes, so that is one very again important thing. So this is about making them learn to be emotionally healthy. So this is one of
Yes.
the traits, and I would connect it with my other thing that I want to discuss here, and I'll come back to this
Yes,
point
sure.
also.
Sure.
So the thing is, you know, as adults, as parents, as teachers, we can really help children become emotionally healthy instead of going into that black and white zone. Now, when you're talking about this, that okay, if I cry, then I will get this. Why I'm doing that? Because it has happened like that in the past.
Yes.
So there isn't kind of an incidents in the past which kind of I'm benchmarking, that I'm saying okay, that happened earlier also, so it will happen again. So I have this idea. Okay, so which is a kind of a black and white emotion again. Instead of that, from the first day when the child demands something, you can of course coach him, train him, teach him, or maybe divert him if nothing helps. Divert him, but don't give him what he wants all the times. Whatever you teach him, whatever you do to him, he is going to learn that, and he is going to demand that. Okay, so coming to the other point, that okay, one other thing that is very important is a belief that the child develops when he or she is growing up, is he or she always compares themselves to others.
Yes.
Right. It's like compares in terms of attributes. So, say for example, a child who kind of is in a class with say under 20 students, then he always notices, okay, this person is taller than me. This person has blue eyes, I have black eyes. This girl has longer hair, I have shorter hair. So there is all constant comparison, even if nobody brings your attention to that comparison. That comparison is going to be there. Can you avoid that? No, you can't.
Yeah.
But one thing that parents and teachers can help right from the beginning, from the very, very initial years, is help them understand that attributes are comparable, but a total human being is not. So, my height is an attribute of me. My color of my eyes is an attribute of me, physical attribute. The bag that I use is less expensive than the bag that the other child uses. So that is not my physical attribute. It is, but it's again an attribute that defines me. It defines where I come from, which community, which economy class I come from. So again, yes, that it is the truth that her bag is more expensive than my bag, but it is just one of the attributes that define me. Am I only this one attribute? No, I am a mixture of number of attributes, number of, and a very few of them are comparable physically. Like, I can compare my height, I compare my skin color, I can compare length of my hair, I can compare my expensive bag, but number of other attributes are just not measurable. A
Yeah.
human being is not just these attributes. A human being is a lot of attributes, and some of them we are not even aware of. We cannot quantify, we cannot measure. So as a human being, I am a net. I'm kind of a net. I'm like sum total of all of these, and very few of these attributes can be measurable and comparable. So can my total human worth be comparable? It is not possible. So the child needs to understand that yes, I can be comparable to another person in certain attributes, but that doesn't mean that I am less than that person. In totality, I am not comparable to anybody. This is, I think, is a very important thing. If this is taught to children at a very young age, I think a lot of other challenges that children, they when they become teenagers, when they become adults, a lot of challenges that they face later will all be solved, will be overcome if this is taught to the child at a very younger age of theirs. The comparison, and another thing is, yes.
Yes.
So another thing is, comparison will always be there and competition will always be there. Are they wrong? No, they're not wrong. They are for particular attributes. If the child realizes that okay, there is this running competition and I participate in it, then I came third or I came fifth. Somebody came first. So yes, there is something which I can learn and improve to get that particular position. If not position, at least to improve my own stamina. So that is why comparison helps. But is that winning that first position that defines my worth? No, it doesn't. It just shows that at this point of time, My stamina is not that much that I can win the race. But does this race's result define me? Does this particular stamina of mine define my own worth? Do I go and kind of brood about it and say, okay, I am less and I am smaller than the person who won? No, I am sum total of so many things. This is just one of the things in my life. So
Yeah,
this doesn't define me. So this is something that is being this is taught to the child. Then, even coming back to your question, that how about the children who become demanding? So demanding is something that again comes from this kind of an belief that they have, that if I cry, then only I will get. If I don't cry, then I will not get. So this is something they have picked up. This belief they have picked up from somewhere. Maybe when he or she was, having an intention of getting something, parents ignored, or he or she could not express themselves. And what they
yeah.
learned is, if I demand, if I cry and get their attention, then only I will get it. So whatever the child, what in whatever way the child behaves, it's not only this, and even in any other behavior that you don't like about the children, try to understand, what do you think is the emotion they are feeling? Irritation, frustration is the emotions. Okay, if they are irritated and frustrated, what is the belief that they have behind it? So the belief looks like, in this case, that if they are irritated, frustrated, means they don't feel that trust that, okay, whatever I want, that I will get. If I talk about it, or if I ask, or if I request, if I, I'll not be. Parents will only give me if I do these tantrums. Otherwise, I'm not going to get it. Right. So it's an entire layer. Behavior is the outermost layer. Underneath the behavior is what is the emotion that the child is feeling.
I just got this. It clicks my mind when you talk
Right.
about belief system. You know, this is the child what he believes. So this means we human beings are actually very intelligent right from the time we are born. And so, if we can channelize it in a positive way, this belief system, so we
True.
can make a child into a very positively, mindset as an adult when he grows up. Belief system, putting the belief in the child. So I think in society, uh, superstitions. This is what coming to my mind. Superstitions, people who believe in it and people who do not believe in it. People who
Yes.
believe in it, they actually, the people who believe in it say it matters to us. Who do
Correct.
not believe in it, it doesn't matter to me. And they are successful in
True.
their own. So I
True.
think it is very important that, right, if we catch upon this, like we say, catch them young. if
Right.
we if we catch this little quality, that belief system comes right from the time of birth, it can be tapped upon, and every human being can be a positive person. And I think that is what, we are into neuro programming these days, you know
Yes.
NLP,
Yes.
what we call.
NLP.
Oh,
Yeah.
I had such a wonderful discovery while talking to you. So, I also remember an anecdote when you said, a child, comparing the two children. I have this quality this person doesn't have. So I remember a small anecdote. I was watching Tenali Ram when, a magician comes and he tells to Tenali Ram that, I know that you can do everything, but I'm a magician. I'm doing something in front of you, and I can assure you, you cannot do it. So he does something, and Tenali Ram says, yes, I cannot do it. But then Tenali Ram says, what I can do, you cannot do. So he said, "Oh, I can do it, with
Correct.
my eyes open or closed." So Tenali Ram said, "Okay, I'll do something with my eyes closed, but you will have to do it with your eyes open." So he said, "Oh, that's a challenge. Then I'll do it." So Tenali Ram, takes a fist of sand, and he closes his eyes and puts the sand on his eyes. And then he tells the magician, "Now you do it with your eyes open." So, this is confidence and this is a belief system, that he
True.
knew that
True.
I cannot do magic, but I can do something with my brain which he cannot do. Right.
Exactly.
So there's a
Very
question
true.
from one of our participants here. She says, "How to fill this learning gap, especially for preschool students? Students who have not yet gone into admissions or not taken admissions in school. So there is a learning gap. I'm not able
Yes.
to
Yes.
understand what you're referring to exactly, but if you have understood, can you answer it?"
So I will try. So what I understand is, the learning gap, I would say it's a look at it as an opportunity for you.
Hmm.
wherein you can teach them life skills. Okay, these are life skills is something that you can learn at school, of course. These days, a lot of schools focus on that, but I think the best place to learn it is at home. So maybe focus. So you teach them things like these, like like you said. Then Ali Rama example is awesome.
Yeah.
Uh, one of my favorite. TV series, right? And like you said, two things come to my mind very, very clearly. Is first thing is, as you said, that the person who believes in superstition believes, and the person who doesn't, he doesn't believe. So it's not about the superstition, whether it is right or wrong. It is about how I perceive it.
Oh,
So
yes.
if the child is taught in the very, very early days that see, uh, there could be diversity in of opinions. What I believe in, the other person may not believe in it, but still it is okay. And on this world there are 8 billion people as of now, around approximately 8 billion people on this world. So everybody can have their own opinion, and it is not that the person who doesn't believe the way I do is wrong or bad. So that diversity and inclusion acceptance is something that makes a child quite when the child grows up and all, quite accepting of things around them, not having any dogmatic beliefs.
Yeah.
Another thing, uh, another thing that I was talking about is about the comparison itself. So in comparison, this competition. So yes, there are a lot of competitions, and that's all I can participate in. But I don't define myself with the result or outcome of that competition. So that is something you can teach them. Maybe you can indulge them in smaller activities where they compete, maybe with people who are available. Maybe you can, it could be group of children from say relatives group or something, where you can indulge them into things like this and kind of make them learn at your own level at home, that okay, competition is a part of life, but it is a small part of life. My life is a lot more than just this competition. So these are the things which I call life skills, is something that can be taught during this learning opportunity, this gap I think that you're talking about. Hope I answered the
I
question.
remember, like, basically, what I can get out of the entire discussion is, first of all, belief system, and the very basis that, I think, because we are human beings, and right from prehistoric times, it comes genetically into us, the fear, because we were in the jungles, we had to save ourselves from
Right.
primitive animals, and also the fear is there. Thunderstorm, we were facing fire and everything. So that is genetically ingredient, in us, innate in
Ingrained in
us.
us. Yes.
Yeah, so we have to take that out first of all from a child's mind. Fear of losing, you know
Yes.
any
Yes.
competition is to be taken as a joyful experience, and not something that I have to win or lose. It's just exploring my talent. Do I know it, or I don't know it? If I don't know it, I have to work upon it. If I'm
Yes.
interested in it, it cannot be
Yes.
forced also. If my
Yes.
interest lies in it, I'll do it. So
Correct.
one other last question would be like, coming to the teenagers, so that one pertinent area, about emotional health for teenagers.
Teenagers, yes, a very interesting group. There are a lot of challenges, a lot of things which are quite relevant to teenagers. But one thing I would like to highlight here is the influence of movies and the TV series that teenagers watch on their belief system again about romantic relationships. Okay, the
Yes.
way teenagers they kind of focus on this, like it's must, like the way they show in the movie, I must have a relationship like this, or I'm worthless, or it is not a livable life. So no, a relationship, definitely a good relationship wherein there is mutual respect, wherein there is fun, is something wherein there is like it's mutual, like both of them want to get into the relationship. It can be it can be something which improves the quality of life. But if it is
Yes.
not there, if it is not there, again, is it like my life doesn't matter? Because what happens to teenagers is they focus so much on this that when they have some challenges in the relation, whether it is a rejection, whether it is
Yeah.
like some teenagers when who are introverted, shy and all, they like somebody and they think about them all the time, but they don't. go out and speak to them. So yes, they have not actually physically done anything to cater to that feeling that they have, but they're not able to focus on anything. They're not able to concentrate on studies. They are not able to concentrate on their family relationships. So my point is that teenagers should be given a kind of an environment of trust from from the parents, from the teachers, wherein they can open up and talk about whatever they feel. And one idea that we can give them is that okay, relationship can be an important part of your life, but it is not a must. It is not something that we need to survive. It's not like air, food, and water. Okay,
Yeah.
so yes, it there are a lot of other things in my life again, and relationship can be one part of it to make it better. If it is not there, my life still remains quite livable and good. It is okay. So this idea, I think, teenagers, if they are made to understand, and there is somebody at home or say at school with whom they can openly discuss about this, what they feel and what they are going through, I think that can be a great help to the teenager community.
Yeah, that brings to my mind, just you know, taking it into a nutshell, the entire thing we have discussed. In order to make children into a healthy, growing adults, we ourselves first to need to work upon ourselves. Our belief system has to change.
True.
We have grown up, like coming to the end part of it, the teenagers. We as adults have still not accepted the fact that you can have a relationship when you're a teenager. It's like, oh, you are still a child, you're not supposed to be. But then we have to understand these are changing scenarios. The century
Right.
has changed. Now they are exposed to it on films, on social media, everywhere. The interactions are so much that you
True.
cannot avoid it. It
You
can be a
cannot avoid.
mental attraction also. It can be an intellectual attraction, and it's
Right.
okay. It's absolutely okay. So instead of putting it into a taboo that you're not supposed to be
Hmm.
like that, I think our
Hmm.
belief system has to change first. When we
Correct.
become accepting, the child obviously will open up to us and talk about
Definitely.
what's going on, in their heads. And these, I think, there are a number of teachers in the school and they experience it. Some teachers are such where the children are very close to the teacher. They share everything with that teacher, but another one they wouldn't share, because that's again upon the teacher's belief system. So
Correct.
thank you so much, Tasneem. It was such a healthy discussion, and it's during these times everybody can. We have, one benefit that we all are at home, so we have some time to work upon ourselves
True.
and improve ourselves. And I
Definitely.
end with a quote. I was just watching Imran Khan. He's my like, I follow him since my childhood. He's somebody who's very, very. I have seen him very dynamically changing his life and changing his qualities according to the situations that he's been put into. So he once said while discussing cricket. Once somebody asked him, "You won the World Cup, but your team was not the strongest. Nobody ever imagined that you'll be in the finals." And he said, if you are scared to lose, you forget to win.
Hmm. Very true.
So I think
Very true.
that is something which actually isn't on my head all the time. If you're scared to lose, if you just think that I'm going to lose, this is not happening, that's not happening, you forget to
Yes.
win. So the same
Yes.
thing comes when you come to your personality. If you feel I cannot do it, I cannot change this, then you're not looking at the ways how you can change. You're
Very
actually
true,
building up.
Shilpi. Very
Yeah.
true, Shilpi. So what you're saying is one thing that I again wanted to say, that we need to teach our children that yes, success is something desirable. It is really a good feeling, but along with success, failures and rejections are also important, because if you don't get them, then you don't grow. If you're always going to win, then you are going to be there at the same level at which you started.
Tasneem, this winning and losing is something because it comes from prehistoric times. We've been like, with Homo sapiens. I
Yes.
want this land. We have to survive. So throw the animals away from
True.
here. That is why animals have not existed. They are extinct. So every
True.
time we wanted that superiority. So that winning and losing is nowhere mentioned in any of the books. We have created this.
We have
We have
created.
enough of
We have
life
picked
to
it up.
live,
Yes.
enjoy, attempt what we can. We get it, it's good. We don't get it, it's almost very good. So winning and losing
Correct.
is the creation of our mind. We are actually
True.
here to experience and grow, And at the end of the life, we are like, oh, I did everything that I was supposed to do. And I have lived my
Correct.
life happily.
And I learned also through all the failures or things which I missed. I learned, so
Yeah,
I became
that's it.
better.
Yeah.
So that's the crux of living.
So
So
thank you
thank you so
so
much,
much.
Shilpi,
It's a
having
wonderful
me.
discussion, and thank you for being here, taking out time with, and coming immediately on our invitation. So graceful of you. So let's see in future again. We have some interesting topic to discuss. Have a lovely day.
Sure, sure. Thank you so much. Have a lovely day. You too, Shilpi. Bye.